behind us. So many. And some of them are really recently born as well. You can still see them umbilical cords. So small. Yeah. Those babies are absolutely adorable.
Hidden all around the world are places we've abandoned. But these ruins don't always lie empty. I'm wildlife filmmaker Dan O'Neill, and with my zoologist mate Yussef Rafik, I'm on a mission to see what moves in after we've gone.
Here we are at Inchkeith Island.
It is amazing.
It does look stunning. Tell you what, I'm finding my sea legs on this boat as well.
I know, I feel like I'm about to throw up.
Inchkeith lies abandoned only 3 miles off the coast of Scotland's capital city. Surrounded by the cold waters of the Firth of Forth, this privately owned island is a maze of ruined buildings and rocky cliffs that have seen both plague and war.
Your butt is right in my face right now.
Ooh, nearly slipped.
You almost kicked me in the face.
Wow.
That would have been a bad start to the day.
Say goodbye to the boat.
There it goes. Our last chance at freedom. Goodbye. Look at that. Bird fur. It's a good intro to the island.
Yeah.
Welcome to the island of death. Oh, we're going to be here all day. I really hope I don't leave my foot behind.
Parts of the island, including derelict buildings and underfoot conditions, may be dangerous.
Oh, brilliant. That's what I like to hear. Is this
Shall
the
we?
gate?
I think this is the only gate we've got.
It feels like we're breaking in. I promise we do have permission to be here, though. But
We might have permission to be here, but Inchkeith's military defences have been stopping people getting onto the island for more than 500 years. Fortified again and again until the end of World War II, its walls once bristled with guns. But they fell silent decades ago.
up we go.
So eerie, isn't it?
Very eerie and creepy. There's so many bones littered around as well that I'm feeling like I'm just crunching them
Yeah, you are, I can hear it.
every step I take.
Check this out. This would have had a massive machine gun in it.
Oh wow, that's a huge pit.
That's cool, right?
Must have been a huge machine gun.
Yeah. Whoa. And look at
Wow.
this. Gives good reference to where we are.
Scotland. How mad is it that literally just over there, across the sea, are thousands of people living their lives, and here we are on an island not that far away, that's just completely derelict and abandoned.
When this oh my god.
Pretty strong. I just saved your life.
Maybe we should
You
stand a
only
bit
one.
down.
Let's go down to safety.
It's amazing, right, standing up there, how strong the wind is,
Yeah.
and then coming in here, it's so much more chilled.
more sheltered as well.
And there's literally only a few places on this whole island that you would ever get a tree. If, if there were none of these abandoned buildings, abandoned structures, you wouldn't get things like this. But this is an elder tree.
And it's not just the elder, of course. We've got stinging nettles here. We've got this stuff, which is burdock, and this stuff is really cool. You can see how it's covered in these little hooks.
Oh,
You feel that? So that they basically attach to any material. So bird feathers, my shoelaces. I've got some there.
Oh
look.
my god, look at this.
And there we go. They actually inspired Velcro.
Oh
So
really?
those little hooks, they got hooks on the end. And this is a method of seed dispersal. So in those pods are loads of seeds, and then when they stick to the bird's feathers, you can be the bird. They'll fly away, carry it with them. They'll drop off and disperse somewhere else.
Oh, that's so cool.
This type of seed dispersal is helping plants recolonise Inchkeith. And they're not alone. Some big animals are moving in. A handful of grey seals began giving birth here in 2000, but now nearly 500 pups are born every year on the island.
Behind us, so many. And some of them are really recently born as well. You can still see them umbilical cords. So small, but we've got to be really careful, obviously, because we don't want to disturb them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mums around, there's a lot of babies.
I don't want to make
But luckily we've got this thing.
this 19th century pillbox with these slits is literally the perfect height. Yeah. And those males making that call behind. Yeah. I reckon if we go in there, we might be able to get to the shoulder.
Let's go in. It's ideal, isn't it?
It's so cool.
Almost as if they made this for Dan and Yussef 200 years ago. One of my favourite facts about these guys is their Latin name, their scientific name, means hook-nosed sea pig.
Oh really?
You can kind of see that, they've got that hook nose.
Definitely, yeah.
You can still see the umbilical cord on that one as well. So with there being so many pups and mothers on the beach, one behaviour in particular that we're seeing a lot of is suckling. And this is a really important stage in a young seal's life. It's essentially make or break and determines whether it will survive. Because that milk is high in fat, is super important because a grey seal pup can put on up to 30 kilograms in just 2 weeks, all from that milk. So it's really, really important, and it needs to put on that blubber in order to survive. The mothers will lactate and the pups will suckle for about a month or so after birth, and then the mothers will just completely abandon the pups, and they are essentially left to fend for themselves, which must be pretty tough on the young pups, and not all of them make it, sadly.
Seal pups aren't the only animals being born on Inchkeith nowadays. It's fast becoming an important sanctuary for nesting seabirds. But before the 1940s, there was only one seafaring bird thought to nest here, and it still calls Inchkeith home.
Just in front of us here is an eider duck. They're really, really big actually. They are our heaviest and our fastest flying duck. They're also true sea ducks, so they absolutely love being out here in the ocean, and that's partly because one of their favourite foods is mussels. And what they'll do is they'll go down and they'll catch them, and they'll swallow them whole down into their gizzard, and then they'll crush them down in there and then regurgitate up the solid parts and eat the soft parts. But they're absolutely gorgeous birds.
Those babies are absolutely adorable. In order to plump themselves up and put on all that weight, the cubs will drink up to 2.5 litres of that super high fat milk every single day. Now, although all these seals probably look the same to you, especially the pups, which are just this white colour, the seals can actually determine individuals pretty well. They use scent and they use sound, so those calls, they can determine their own pups. And this is important because they don't want to suckle the wrong pups, because that milk is super precious, so they only want to give it to their own offspring. And you might actually see, we've seen a couple of behaviours earlier where a mother seal is slapping away another pup, which is pretty cruel, but in the fight of survival, it's a necessary evil.
Just down here, we've got a big flock of shags. But one of the coolest things about these birds is they can dive to 45 metres looking for their food. They're kind of benthic feeders. They feed right down at the bottom of the ocean, and they love things like sand eels. It's one of their favourite foods. And unfortunately, sand eels have been declining so much in recent years.
This is thought to be linked to climate change, but that isn't the only threat the island's birds are facing. To help us understand the challenges, I want to head to the other side of the island to look for clues in the nest colonies.
Well, we're back again.
Yep.
Back on the island.
Before we get to the seabird cliffs, I want to make a quick detour to see the old military barracks, which have become like miniature forests. But we're not the only ones here.
It's gone, it's gone. We've spotted the owl, we've spotted the owl. Let's go.
It was round
Okay,
here.
it was round here.
I literally just saw it flash straight past me and go out the window.
It just looked like a brown, oh my God, here we go, here we go. Look at these. Oh, there's loads of it. So some's pretty fresh, some's a bit older.
That's a pellet, right?
That's a pellet, here you go, take that.
Oh my God, so this is quite an old one, so this is probably our owl's home. Oh yeah. Look at this.
So I've got a bit of a fresher one here, this is a wet one. So this may look like poo, but this is obviously a pellet, which is the regurgitated leftovers of what the owl couldn't digest.
The owls have a crop here, and it all goes down in there. Yeah. That visceral mass in there just breaks it all down, and then they regurgitate up all the messy bits.
But as a biologist, this stuff is great because we can see what they've been eating.
Yeah, really useful for diet. Should we break them out over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can already see a little bone there. Oh, here we go. Look at this.
What's that?
Bit of jaw. So you can see,
Sure, that's
clean it
definitely a
out.
mouse.
That's definitely a mouse.
Yeah.
You can see those tiny teeth and those, I mean, they're still pretty tiny, but the bigger classic rodent front teeth that just continue to grow and get worn down.
And you can see for certain, like check on the side of this one.
Yeah.
It's that classic
Exactly.
darker grey and then brown overtone. That's a mouse right there.
Mouse. So we know it's been eating a mouse.
Long-eared owls, like the one we saw, are unique because of the elongated head feathers known as ear tufts, which they raise whenever they're alarmed. They usually prefer to live in dense thickets of woodland, but the small trees and shrubs grown inside the barracks seems to be giving this owl all the cover it needs.
Absolute proof that it was here.
Beautiful feather.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, right?
Beautiful.
Long-eared owl, do you want to keep it?
I will, yes, thank you.
There you go.
Stick it on that.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's go.
Walking around here is like walking into dinosaur nests. This is a mixed colony here. This is a cormorant's nest. But it's really sad because this is a completely abandoned island. There's no one here, but this nest is absolutely chock-a-block full of plastic and wiring, and these white ones here, they get caught around the legs of chicks and adults and can really cause them a lot of problems. There's a lot of dead birds around here, and some of them will have died naturally, but some will have plastic problems, not just on their outside, but also on their inside. And that's one of the really big problems here. There's over 100 different still operational and disused waste sites with plastic falling off into the ocean, being picked up by birds like this. And scientists are currently studying birds like cormorants and other seabirds in this area for how they've accumulated the toxic chemicals coming out of plastic. They're fantastic indicators of what the ecosystem is showing in terms of pollution. And it's such a shame because these are really, really important breeding sites for loads of different threatened birds. And it just shows how much of a problem we're causing for these environments. But here on an abandoned island, we're still not escaping from the problems that we're causing.
So we've made it down to the beach in the hope of doing some rock pooling, hence these props that look like they came from a 5-year-old. But I can already see some rock pools, so hopefully we're going to have some luck with that. But the first thing that hits me when I come down to this beach is just the sheer amount of litter, the plastic pollution around. I mean, we've got all types of bottles, we've got some old flip-flops, I saw a toothbrush back there, and it's just, considering this place, this island is such a valuable spot for both seabirds and seals and loads of other wildlife, it's really quite shocking just to see how much litter there is laying around here. Okay, check this out. So this rusty thing right here is the shell of a contact mine, and that really brings us back to the purpose of this island being used for military for all these years. I'm not going to get too close to it. I think it's pretty safe, but we're going to move on.
I thought this was a pellet that's been regurgitated, and I don't know if it was regurgitated, but this is a really dense piece of tin foil, the exact kind of thing a bird would see glinting and thinking it might be a fish. Really could easily be eaten by a chick. So sad to think, isn't it? That a parent picks this up, thinks that it's got something for its chick to eat, takes it back to the nest. There's a lot of energy that goes into that. They could be out there for hours searching for food, and they brought this back. And they think it's going to feed their chick up, but it's actually doing the exact opposite. It's filling them up with stuff that's going to end up killing them. Really sad.
Okay, so this looks like a pretty good rock pool. But rock pools, although I can already see a fair bit of nature around here, rock pools are very harsh environments, not the easiest place to survive in. They are massively exposed, you've got the wind coming in. They're also obviously constantly changing because the tide's coming in and out, but they do make their own little worlds and little havens for lots of species that are ideal for this kind of habitat. Okay. So I just clambered over all those rocks because I spotted something very cool in the water, just peeking through there. So finally going to get to use this very cool net to fish it out. So what we have here, hold on. Okay, it's quite light, so I think unfortunately it's just the shell. Yeah, it is. But what we have here is a dog whelk, and this is a snail-like mollusk that lives here in the rock pools, typically lower down on the shore, wherever its favourite food live. And its favourite food are barnacles and mussels. And so this is a top predator. It's a hunter. What it will do is it will drill a hole, it will bore a little hole into the shells of those barnacles and mussels. It will inject this enzyme deep into the body, which will sort of digest it for it and turn it into a liquid soup. And then it has this tube structure thing called a proboscis, which it uses to suck out all that liquid soup. Pretty grim for the barnacles and mussels, but quite a cool little animal.
The weather takes a turn, so we're heading to the closest Victorian fort. There are 3 on the island, and the labyrinth of passageways within has been left pretty much undisturbed since the military dismantled their operations here. And if there's anything I've learnt from our explorations, it's that abandoned places don't stay uninhabited for long.
Oh, come on.
Is this the tunnel?
I don't want to go in there. There's a lot of snails.
There's a lot of snails already.
A lot of snails.
There's a lot of empty snail shells on the ground as well.
Yeah, what eats snails in tunnels?
We will find out, hopefully. Okay.
Oh my God!
Wow. This is insane. So this is what I was hoping we would find. I didn't think we would find quite this many. So these are cave spiders, European cave spiders. And these lovely, fluffy things dangling from the ceiling you can see are their egg sacs. Okay, this is a little bit scary now.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Guess what? We came at just the right time of year for the egg sacs because they lay these sacs between September and February. So
Oh, just in
perfect.
time.
But it's like we timed it perfectly.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh no, it's quite.
Oh God! No, go on,
It's your
mate.
reactions. Okay, you calm down.
Do it with confidence.
You do it with confidence. It's your lack of confidence that's giving me heebie-jeebies. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look at that beautiful, beautiful spider. So this is a European cave spider.
Does it not scare you? That's going to bite you.
It terrifies me, so stop reminding me. But so these, hence the name, live in caves, and it turns out also old Victorian tunnels. They are actually very beautiful. This explains why we've been seeing all those empty snail shells, yeah, because that makes that part of their diet.
So spiders like this would hunt snails?
They hunt snails, slugs, hibernating moths that you quite often find in places
That
like
would
this
hunt
as well.
a fully grown snail?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
mad. Feeling a bit more docile right now.
It is, it's calming down
Look
a
at
bit.
that silk coming
I
out
was
of
just
the back
about to
of
say,
it.
you can see that silk, and you know what? Scientists recently have discovered that this silk from the European cave spider is actually one of the most elastic silks in the animal kingdom.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, amazing. Look at
really
that, yeah,
cool.
it's coming off there. Yeah.
okay,
Do you want to put this one back?
we'll pop them back.
I've got to admit that it's incredible that even the old forts here have become spider caves. Every building is transforming into its own habitat, and if you replicate that across the island, there's a whole new ecosystem in action here.
These places that typically people think are not useful, brownfield sites, so much value for wildlife, and more than you'd ever expect. I think I've seen more animals doing this than I've ever seen in the
I
world.
know, it's mad. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, we better get off this island because I don't think the boat's going to hang around for long. So, let's head out. And the seals have just said goodbye.
Yeah, they're telling us to leave actually, mate.
All right, let's go. Let's go home.
Once we're back on the boat, the animals will have this entire island to themselves again. It's been amazing to see how wildlife can return, even in the most unexpected places. We made the buildings on this island for war, but the animals, the seals, the seabirds and even the spiders are putting them to a different use. Inchkeith might have been abandoned by us, but it's being reclaimed by them.